Chainsaw, blades all running at full speed, and trust me, they know. Fear is a must to attain law. Part of the neck of the rest of the brain off. It's beautiful out in the country, especially when any others confront me. I'm feeling for blood, I'm hungry. Murder this track and you're trying to hunt me. You in the house, the family's waiting. Joining the dinner table, we've been craving. Dinner we're plating. You are the course, we are the killers.
It's nice when you're reviewing a bad franchise like this that you actually get to talk about a good movie for once, after shoveling through so much fucking shit. Well, thankfully, we finally get to do that here today, after going through the garbage of Next Generation, the terrible pointless prequel, The New Beginning, and the god-awful Texas Chainsaw 3D. Now, we can finally talk about a good one. It's just a shame that this can't be the last movie of our review, because, the next one, it exists. I'll talk about more at the end. Let's stay positive for now, because this movie's actually really damn good, and I want you all to go see it. What's up? What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Anime Station, which is for anything animation, including chainsaw-wielding maniacs chasing teens through the woods, as well as TV and movies. I'm your host, Jadson Small. Welcome back to Return to 31 Days of Horror. Let's talk about a good Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie for once. Yeah, I know. Been a while. Let's talk about Leatherface. No, not Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. I'm talking about the 2017 prequel that is tied into the timeline of Texas Chainsaw 3D. Yes, that sounds like a disaster, but trust me when I say this movie is anything but. This is actually a really, really good film. It surprised me how much I actually ended up liking it. It was dropped on Netflix in 2017. Reviews were kind of all over the place. Some people really liked it, some people really don't. And people can at least say with certainty, it is better than the piece of shit that is Texas Chainsaw 3D. And it does sting a bit that this has to be tied into that piece of garbage. But trust me when I say, this movie's really good. It's actually really good. It's something unique. It's something new. And unlike Texas Chainsaw Massacre The Beginning, which killed off the reboot timeline, this was actually fucking useful for once. Yes, it still has problems, and the actual mystery of whose Leatherface is handled very, very poorly, but the rest of this movie is more than enough to make it worth watching. Why? Let me tell you all about it in this review. Enjoy. Is it better than 3D? Yes, much better. Is it better than Next Generation? Oh, absolutely. Not even a fucking debate is better than that one. Is it a good movie? I'd say yes. But is it a great movie? No. Pros, great acting. Nice to see for once. Phenomenal gory kills. One of the goriest installments in the franchise. Good characters. The characters are actually likable in this movie for once, which is nice. Decent pacing. It's a little bit haphazard and not always consistent, but it's solid enough. A few decent scares. This movie isn't very scary, but there are a few that did get me. A solid runtime. It's not too long, but it's not too short either. And higher rewatchability. I wouldn't say it's super high rewatchability. It's not a great movie, but it's pretty good, and I do like revisiting it every now and then. That being said, though, as much as I do like this movie, and I do like this movie, it still has some problems that we need to talk about. But trust me, in comparison to what we had to review next to finish off this franchise, it's fucking Mozart. Cons, the mystery of which kid becomes Leatherface is very stupid and has an unsatisfactory conclusion that makes no sense. You see this one character that looks like is going to be the one that becomes Leatherface, but in the end, it turns out to be nothing more than a red herring. Yeah, I don't know why they went with that route, and it doesn't work. Even though, I will give it this, the actor that actually does become Leatherface does his best to make this twist actually work. Because his acting in that final part is really good. I'm not going to say who it is. I'm just going to say he does a good job selling the illusion that he's the character. Even though I don't fucking buy it for a second. The characters are just okay. The characters aren't horrible. They're not unlikable piles of shit like we had before, which is nice. But they're not really all that memorable either, especially the two psychopath characters that are supposedly like the secondary antagonists of the movie. They don't really work well, and they just feel like a cheap knockoff of Bonnie and Clyde. You'll get what I mean when you watch it, but the characters are just okay. Runtime is just a little bit too long. It is solid, but it does feel like it goes on for a little bit longer than it needs to. And a few scenes do feel like complete filler. Like, there are a few scenes in this movie that don't really add up to much of anything, and it just feels like it's wasting time to waste time. Overall, though, despite its unfortunate connection to the awful Texas Chainsaw 3D, I was surprised how much I enjoyed this one. While it's not great and the whole mystery plot of who becomes Leatherface is very poorly handled, it's at the very least somewhat original, actually tried to do something new, and unlike 3D, it's not a cringy Gen Z pile of shit, and it has amazing kills. It's worth a watch. It's not a great movie, but in this franchise of mostly bottom-dwelling garbage, I will take what I can get. And that's why I'm happy to give Leatherface 2017 a final verdict of a high and well-deserved 7 out of 10. It's the closest that any of these movies have gotten to reaching the quality of the first two films. It's something unique, it's something original, and while the mystery itself is handled horribly poorly, everything else surrounding it is actually able to make it more than worth watching. Yes, it does have its B-movie moments, but if you can get around that, you're in for some amazing gore and a surprisingly good time. I think this movie's quite enjoyable, and I find myself rewatching it more often than most of these movies. So, yeah, check it out. It's a decent movie. But unfortunately, I can't end it on this series, because it's 2024. And for those of you that don't remember, 2 years ago, we got another one of these movies after a good few years. And, oh, fuck, it is awful. It is a movie so bad that I outright refused to review it when it first came out. Even when I had my other channel, Lumen 27, I said, no review, I refuse. And up to that point, I still refused to review the movie, or this franchise in general, because I didn't want to fucking talk about it. But we have to end this franchise on yet another wet, stinky fart anyway, so unfortunately, I can't dodge it any longer. Next time I have to talk about a movie that I hated so much that I refused to review it. And a movie that I would go so far as to call tone deaf. Tell you all about next time when we finish off this inconsistent, mostly bad series with arguably one of its worst films yet. I'll see you next time for Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 Prequel. Fuck me!